Hi everyone, it's Sonny McDonald here, and welcome to my live today where I'm going to be talking about what makes a great leader. And I think during this time, I certainly have been hearing about it and seeing it. We're seeing the worst and the best in each other. And it's interesting during times of uncertainty, adversity, crisis, it's interesting to see how people lead or how people act or how people behave. And the thing is, this is the time for you to really step up and be the best version of yourself. And look, I totally get it. I truly understand that these are challenging times, but there's also, like any time, this is an opportunity to stand tall, be courageous, and to be the best version of yourself. So how can you do that? How can you be the best version of yourself for the people around you, for your team, for everyone at home, in everyday leadership? I mean, I'm a great believer, and I know I espouse this, that leadership isn't a role or attitude. It's a mindset. It's an action. It's a behavior. So how can we be a great leader, and what does it take to be a great leader? And I think what it takes to be a great leader is definitely to have a leadership mindset and to understand what leadership means to you. And this is, I think, where personal leadership or self-leadership really comes into play. Understanding what your values are, I think, is really key. Understanding what drives you. I've got my 5 top values, and I really live and breathe those, and I reflect on them all the time. So I think that is really important. So really getting a sense of what your values are, and also understanding what you stand for a leader. So obviously for me, it's around impact and kindness and courage. They're the things that really drive who I am as a person. And it's really interesting. Like, I have this discussion a lot with people, especially when I'm working with a new group of leaders or emerging leaders or executives that still kind of see leadership as this soft and fluffy stuff. And to me, and it was interesting. It wasn't until I really started living and breathing this space and started teaching and coaching leadership that I started to reflect on my life. And there were so many times where I was making a difference and I was leading, but I didn't recognize it at the time. Is that leadership is the tough stuff. It is the hard stuff, but it is the stuff that we really need today. I mean, don't you think we need to see more leaders and more people stepping up, being the best versions of themselves? So I think it's around really finding that authentic self. I think what makes a great leader is someone that really has that self-awareness, really does a lot of inner work, really understands who they are. I think that's really important in leadership. And it isn't soft and fluffy. I think it's necessary. And I always say to people, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand others. The other thing I think when it comes to leadership, to be a great leader, is that you're really open to feedback, that you're really open to advice from others and guidance from others, that you don't let your ego come into play, and that you're open to, I want to keep growing. I want to keep being the best version of myself. So give me feedback, give me guidance, and being open to that, I think, is really fundamental when it comes to being a great leader. Again, like, not being the smartest person in the room. I think just, being really owning who you are and letting your ego, leave your ego at the door. Like, don't let your ego overtake who you are as a leader. And that's where humility is really, really important when it comes to leadership. So being humble, and also, and I know I talk about this, what makes a great leader is grit, is resilience. I think being able to pick yourself up when you've kind of been knocked down, and, looking at how you react to things and being mindful of that. I think, I always talk about kindness, and I think kindness and being nice are very, very different. I think you can be really strong as a leader. I think what makes a great leader is someone that shows that resilience and that strength, but they do it with an inner strength and inner kindness as well. Because I know for me, when COVID hit, even though I know that we're still talking a lot about these are unprecedented times and it's been like a pandemic, but the thing is, we don't know when this is going to end, or it's kind of like we're riding this wave. However, this is the time for us to really understand who we are and also how we're reacting to certain things, because I'm seeing a lot of people reacting or even showing their true selves during this time. And what makes a great leader is someone that really reflects on how they are acting and behaving, because your actions and words, as a leader, people are going to be noticing how you're acting and behaving. They're going to be watching you. So be really careful around how you are reacting and acting to things, and also understand why you're acting to certain things as well. I think what makes a great leader. So we've spoken about personal leadership, self-awareness. We've talked about not having an ego, being open to feedback, understanding the power of resilience. I think in leadership, you know what? I know even today, I was kind of trying to navigate some things, and I just kind of laughed at the situation going, you know what, bring it on. There's so many different things happening at the moment. There's so many different challenges and changes. And even the people that I'm coaching, or the people that we're working with in our leadership programs and workshops, they're also kind of feeling quite, gosh, how do we navigate this? And quite overwhelmed. I'm like, we just have to ride it. We can't sweat the small stuff. We can't kind of implode with the small stuff. We've got to think about long term. We've got to think about big picture. We've got to think about, what we can learn about ourselves and others during this time. Because I always say, I don't know if I mentioned this before, the more self-aware you are of yourself, the more self-aware you are of others. And I think that's really key to being a great leader, because then when you're more self-aware about others and you understand who they are and you understand, what they might be going through during this time, what's important to them, how to motivate them, what are their strengths and talents, what's kind of tripping them up at the moment, or how they're feeling, then you're able to inspire and lead them more as well. What makes a great leader is leadership is about others. Okay. Leadership isn't about you. It is certainly not about me. So even though I've talked about the importance of self-awareness and personal leadership is about inspiring others to do more, learn more, and be more. Absolutely. That's what leadership's about. It's about others, and it's about making an impact and making a difference, no matter how small, because that can create a massive ripple effect. I think that's really important. I also think what makes a great leader is one that absolutely shows integrity and honesty in every action, word. They lead by example. They do what they say they're going to do. I think that is so important, and they're actually open to saying, I actually don't know. They're open to being that vulnerability piece. You know what? I'm trying the best I can as well during this time. We're all in this together. I know that's kind of been spoken about a lot, but we're just going to have to keep moving forward and doing the best we can. I also think what makes a great leader is one that's really able to communicate. I think that's really important, that they over-communicate, especially when you're leading a lot more virtually and remotely, that you just keep communicating, even if you have to over-communicate. And if your team go, you're over-communicating, that's cool. At least, they're giving you feedback. And I think that is so important. I also think what makes a great leader is leaders are readers, right? Leaders are always growing. And there are so many books I could recommend to you. There's so many different podcasts, TED Talks. Look, I definitely will be doing a live with my favorite books. Reach out to me if you want any recommendations. I have written a couple of books that I absolutely love called Leadership Attitude and Just Rocket. There's so many other great books out there. I'm constantly still reading leadership and also books around how to be the best version of myself. I've just picked up one that was recommended to me last week, one of my lives where I was interviewing a great CEO, and he told me to get a book called Small Giants. So that's just been delivered to my front door today. So I can't wait to get my hands on that. I always spend a certain amount of time each day reading and learning, because I think that's really important. And also reflecting and journaling. I think what great leaders do is that they're really great at reflecting. They're really great at going, okay, how did I go today? I think that's really important. And going, okay, what would I do differently? How could I be better tomorrow? I also think great leaders are really good. I mean, I mentioned communication, is that they keep communicating in terms of asking great questions. You know, how can I serve you? What do you need from me? How can I help you to be the best that you can be? You know, what are your successes? What are some of your challenges? And how can I help you overcome those challenges? So they're really good at asking questions, but they're also great at listening. I think that's really, really important, that they zip it and they listen and they take in and they spend time being present and listening to those around them. I think great leaders are also great listeners. Gosh, there's so much I could tell you. I mean, I'm trying, leadership isn't bigger than, like, sometimes I think we make leadership bigger than what it is. And it's definitely not this big thing. Like, sometimes I think we think because leadership is like, again, like I said, a role or title, or that we make it bigger than what it is, and therefore we're not giving ourselves permission to lead. Leadership is absolutely a mindset and a choice. In every interaction, I'm very cognizant of, my words and my actions, but also being authentic in terms of how I'm leading, and also owning who I am as well. Owning that I'm absolutely not perfect. Really understanding that by surrounding myself with people that have got different strengths than me, then that is such a gift as well. I think, Karen's mentioned, like, servant leadership is really important. Absolutely. Like, leadership is about serving others as well. Saying yes to everything, yes. I think, great leaders are really great at looking at opportunities and looking at, like, I know people, like, I kind of did say the other day, I'm not a big fan of the word pivot. Like, I'd probably prefer, like, adapt, because I know when COVID hit, there were definitely some challenges that we and I went through, like, for me professionally and personally, but also for my companies. And, I thought, what could we do differently? Like, how can we adapt to this situation? And, I just really made sure that my team were cared for, that I was looking after my well-being, and I just adapted and went, let's be creative and innovative here. We started looking at our online program. Like, how I mentioned before that leaders are readers, like, we've got the most amazing online program, and we are now adding a membership to it, which I've given you a link to in this live. We've updated the program to make it even more incredible for everyone. So we kind of went, like, let's just look at some ideas. Like, great leaders are kind of like, let's kind of look at how we can, the world's changing, how we can adapt, and how we can really use, again, this is an opportunity to be more creative and also be more supportive to everyone, to inspire and empower them during this time as well. So that's why I've been doing lots of podcasts and lives and online webinars and things like that, to try and support as many people as we can. Like Rachel's just said here, your authenticity is missing in leaders today. Yeah, look, I definitely can see that. I think sometimes leaders, and many people I work with, they kind of put a mask on and they are being someone different to who they think they need to be because they're trying to fit in. It's happened a lot in my coaching work, particularly in the construction and engineering industry that we do a lot of work in still today, is that people were adapting or being inauthentic because they felt that they needed to behave or be a certain way because of that certain industry and environment. But then when I was empowering them and coaching them to be truly authentic, because the thing is, when you're not authentic, your brain is in stress response, right? It's in threat response. It's stress because it's kind of like going, I'm not behaving and acting my confident or natural or authentic self, I'm not being true to myself, I'm not being true to others, is kind of putting on the mask, because it's always watching that I need to kind of fit in. And that causes a lot of cortisol in the brain, that floods the prefrontal cortex, because you're always on this alert that you're not being authentic. Therefore, you're not able to make decisions effectively, and that's where mistakes happen and causes issues. And then people can sense that you're not being insincere, you're not being sincere. So therefore, there's trust issues there. And I can tell you now, like, the center pole of leadership is absolutely integrity, but it's also trust. So when you are showing your real authentic self, and look, you know what? Leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being respected. Not everyone's going to like you, right? But when you're being your authentic self and you're being sincere and you're being natural, then people can you build up that trust with people, and trust is everything when it comes to leadership. So Rosemary's going, we all need to draw on the hard times we have lived through and lived with to understand what got us through these times and orders. Yeah, look, I definitely think these are the times, like in terms of leadership, where we can absolutely grow. These are the times where you can really transform and grow. And gosh, what was I watching the other day? I read this. There was a really nice quote. It's like someone said, like, I felt like my whole house had burnt down. Everything just seemed to crumble around me. And the person said, yeah, but the thing is, when you feel like your house is burnt down or things have kind of crumbled around you, at least you've kind of now got more light to see what you need, where you need to go. And that can definitely happen, and I know when COVID hit, I felt like I was in this like slow motion movie. I really had to go deep into my courage and deep into that kindness and go, you know what? I have dealt with so many adversities and challenges in my life. And I agree with what Rosemary's saying, is that I know I can get through this. I have had challenges before, and this is just another wave that we need to ride. So I think that's really important. And also I think that it is important that you do have that self-kindness, but you're kind to other people. I just think I am seeing a lot of unkindness at the moment. And I know there's a lot on social media around being kind during this time. And one of my favorite books is Give and Take by Adam Scott. And, and I love it so much because he talks a lot about giving and kindness and I am a believer in karma. Great leaders are kind, and kindness builds trust. When you are warm and when you are kind, it builds trust with people. When you've got that connection and that kindness, with people, I think it makes such a difference. So I really invite you to understand how, and go to my website actually, because there's so many great blogs on kindness and courage and how to be a great leader. I just think that if there's anything that we can do to help, and if you'd like me to do any kind of keynotes or webinars for you, or if you've got any suggestions around topics you would love to learn about on these live videos, please reach out to me, because I would love to empower as many people as I can. I've launched a new website with new keynotes around impact and purpose and resilience and courage and kindness and how to get out there and really rock it as well, because I think that, to be the best version of ourselves, that we really need to, use this time to be great. Use this time to be the best version of yourself, because together we will get through this. And if we keep supporting and helping each other and giving and showing kindness and being courageous for each other, I think that we will come out better. We will come out stronger. And if we are seeing the best and worst in each other, and I put a post recently on this around LinkedIn, that I'm seeing some of the worst of people and they're going, hey, it's because of COVID. And I get it. Some of us are definitely going through some really challenging times. However, we can't always use it as an excuse not to be the best versions of ourselves and not be kind. I think that empathy and compassion, absolutely for people that are going through tough times, but we can still be strong and we can still show courage with kindness. And even if we are finding it a really challenging time and we are finding that we haven't got that as much resilience and grit, we can still be kind. So remember to just take care of yourself and practice that self-kindness and self-love and self-compassion, because great leaders are great at doing that. And also just be the best you can be. And that does take authenticity. It does take integrity. And if I can help in any way, send me some suggestions of what you'd love for me to talk about. Email me. I'm always here to help, and always stay kind and stay courageous. And thank you for listening to my live today. And please stay safe. Thank you.